Let's bring in former Missouri GOP chairman John Hancock, also available on a radio near you, 1120 a.m., the mighty KMOX. A fine place. John, good to see you as always.
Always good to be with you, Leland.
Chris Steyerwalt of the Fox News Halftime Report fame writing, think of Todd Akin in a Stetson. You know of a thing or two about Todd Akin, the Republican Senate candidate who imploded over his comments about rape and abortion. Is that where we're at right now, or is it too soon to say that?
Well, it's a little different. Todd Akin said something stupid. This is an allegation of pedophilia. All right. There was a time when Republicans weren't divided on the issue of pedophilia. You know, what you've got here with Roy Moore is a credible accusation. I've worked with a ton of candidates, Leland, that get accused of any number of things. When you're falsely accused, you aggressively go out and you answer every question from any media that wants to ask it, and you get the truth out. You put your timelines together. You go out and aggressively defend yourself. That's not happening here. Roy Moore's going to selected media outlets to tell his story, but he's not answering all questions. I think he needs to go.
Turn this around, though, in the way Roy Moore is saying, look, after these have been brought up after 40 years, it's impossible to defend yourself after 40 years. You've got allegations on one side. There's no evidence either way on the other side. He says this is nothing more than a left-wing media attack. That's an argument that Republicans have used a long time. You yourself have made the argument that the Washington Post and others are not fair to Republicans. Why this allegation means that this candidate needs to go?
Well, look, it's either true or it's not. He either did this to a 14-year-old girl or he didn't. If he didn't, he should be aggressively defending himself. He should be answering all questions. He would want to face his accuser in a situation like this, and I'm not seeing those kinds of things.
What Moore would say is, Moore would say, I can't get a fair shake from the media. I can't go out and face the Washington Post or other kinds of reporters because they're biased against me. This is fake news they're making up. That argument doesn't seem to swim with you.
It doesn't. You know, you've got to face people. He needs to be talking to the press in Alabama. And people are ultimately going to have to make a judgment about this man and when they go to the polls. Yeah. And if he's not credible and not believable on his denouncement of this thing, he's going to lose. And
we've seen some Republicans, though, in Alabama say then even if this was true and that he maybe dated a girl but didn't have a sexual relationship with her, it would be okay. So there's some who are standing by him no matter what. This has turned into a real distraction for Republicans in so many ways. This weekend, we've got Ivanka Trump up in Maine with Susan Collins talking tax reform. Susan Collins obviously being one of the Republican senators that made health care very difficult to pull off. The Roy Moore issue creates all sorts of math problems in the Senate for Republicans. Right. Callers into your radio show, where are they more concerned on this? Roy Moore, tax reform not getting done, Obamacare, where are their concerns?
Well, there's a lot of concerns, and I think, you know, the Republican Party is going to have to deliver on tax reform going into the midterm elections. And I think the great concern out there is if there's no ability to demonstrate that Republicans can govern the country. We couldn't quite get the repeal of Obamacare. We've got to get tax reform done. It'll help the economy. It's good for the American people, and it'll help our showing in the 2018 midterms.
Well, I guess you'd agree, though, conversely, if tax reform isn't done, it's going to hurt the showing in the 2018 elections.
No question about it.
No question. John, appreciate your thoughts. As always, good to see you, and we'll look for you on the radio, KMOX.